Let's have a look at some of these athletes. The Belgians always strong. Don't discount them. Of course, Nielsen of the Netherlands is very much one of the favourites, as Hannah said. The Spanish, they will give a good account of themselves. They'll be battling for medals. Great Britain taking gold last year ahead of France and Denmark, by the way. Germans, Lagoa, Müller and Zalten. And then the Irish, Nick Griggs. Well, he is a world-class athlete on the track, is Nick Griggs. He's run a 3:52 mile, 13:05 for 5,000 metres and 7:36 for 3,000 metres. The Norwegians, Halvorsen, will be a handful as well. Expect him to go well. The World Junior 3,000 metres champion a couple of years ago in Lima, turning back the best of the Africans in a slow tactical race. And the Turks, well, we shall see if they can challenge for team medals here today. Let's have a look at these athletes. The Portuguese, João Santos, a 3:39, 1,500 metre in and out last summer. Second in the Portuguese Championships over 1,500 metres. 13th in the Portuguese cross-country here 3 weeks ago. The first in the under-23 age category. Jonathan Gran of Sweden, European Junior 3,000 metres champion a couple of years ago. Took a silver in the under-23 10,000 this summer just gone. And he ran 7:43 a couple of years ago for 3,000 at 18 years of age. Stefan Nielsen, one of the favourites, and 9th placer in the Olympic 1,500 in Paris 24. Last year in Antalya, he ran the relay leg and then finished 12th in the individual race an hour or so later. Very strong too and fast. Yoli Lileso, he's probably the pre-race favourite, was at the press conference yesterday. The European under-23 10,000 metres champion, trains with Nielsen and Niels Laros. Got great speed and great strength. Nick Griggs of Ireland, so much frustration for him, so many near misses. Second in this race last year, second and third in the under-20 races the previous 2 years. He's a 3:52 miler, Griggs, watch him. And there is Will Barnicott, the defending champion, going for his third consecutive title. He is therefore the defending champion. He too great on the track, the Aldershot-Farnham District athlete. He's been training in Font-Romeu. He's run 13:19 for 5,000 metres. He has to be full of confidence here, but this will be a clash of titans in the men's under-23 race. It's short and sharp for fellas of this strength, just under 6 kilometres coming at them over 4 laps. 76 starters. And they will all have been warming up and been made well aware of the challenges. All the teams yesterday morning got a chance to jog around the track of the circuit and get their heads around it.
On your marks.
They're underway then in this 4th race of the day. Starting exactly on time. The organisation so far, and a massive pat on the back is deserved. It has been absolutely brilliant. The local organisers doing superbly so far. This is a quick start. No quarter been given here over this first 150 metres. That sharp climb at the start, and then it flattens out a little bit. Boudi and Raja of France, both up to the front end. And it's one of those circuits, Hannah, I guess if you're one of the favourites, but you don't run aggressively the first couple of minutes, you're tucked back in that pack, and you're then spending a lap weaving through bodies.
Well, Barnicott, Nielsen and Gregson, for me, they all got absolutely smashed off the line, and they are back in sort of around the 20s, 25s or so. And you can see Barnicott just on the inside here as we come towards the 3 little bumps, the defending champion. Nielsen in the middle of the pack, and Griggs, there he is. Griggs is a little bit higher up, but some of the big names didn't fare well in that first 600 metres, and there's got to be a bit of panic going on for that. For them, they're going to want to measure their effort, but at the moment they've got a lot of traffic around them.
Yeah, I think the thing is not to panic, isn't it? Just to ease your way up, even if it takes a lap or so to get there. That's one of the Italians up there, Francesco Roppalato, the 20-year-old, is up at the front end. He was 12th in the European Junior cross-country a couple of years ago in Brussels. He's just looking at his best times. Nothing superb on the track. The Trento-born athlete, but he's gone out with real confidence here. Don't know if that'll end up being the best policy for Francesco Roppalato, but he's getting a good run at everything. One of the Germans up there in second place, certainly early too, Robin Muller. tall lad in second place.
You can see Nick Griggs and the sort of pre-race favourites we highlighted on the start line faring best through the first half lap here. And I think this course disrupts your rhythm enough. We mentioned the turns, the ups, the downs, the man-made obstacles, without having bodies around you as well. This is going to be a very stressful first lap for most of those pre-race contenders. I think you're right, Tim, you've got to stay calm, but you can't be complacent here.
No, you're right.
It's only 4 laps. You can't coast 1 lap hoping that the field's going to spread out in the second lap and you're going to be able to glide through. Not on a course like this with all these bends.
No, you're right. I mean, you make a good point, because if you're back in, say, 20th over this first half lap, and athletes in front of you are already struggling a little bit to go with the tempo, the guys in front are moving away and you can't cover that surge up front. So within half a lap you've got to be up there making your presence felt. Nick Griggs to the right of picture, and they've settled down here, and there's almost a sort of a glancing across at each other there, and they're wondering who's going to take this on, who's going to push hard. I mean, personally I think Nick Griggs has got the strength to make sure that the pace is kept really honest at the front end, and just to test the others. Let's sort it out early on.
If there was a big screen, if this was a track race, would Nick Griggs be looking up and realise that some of his big competition are far back and they're struggling and he's at the front? It's so early. We're only half a lap into 4 laps. But is there a slight temptation here for someone like Nick Griggs just to put his foot down and go? He's got the strength. He's so good over 5,000s. The likes of Nilsson, of Barnicat are chewed up in the pack here. Do you just run off the front and you make them really work to get back to you? It's
a bit early, isn't it? I mean, on the first of 4 laps, but Griggs is up there. The French Boudy has moved to the front. Now Pierre Boudy, silver medalist in the European Junior Steeplechase back in 2023. 9th in the European Under-23 cross-country last year in Antalya. He's run 28.20 for 10,000. He's more a strength runner than a speedster, is Pierre Boudy, who leads at the moment.
First move up here, the Norwegian vest. Apologies, I've lost his name there, but a good move, good swift move through. But there's lots of athletes here that I think would have had a calm first lap, and now they can start to push. It's a good move there from Spanish athletes. They lead the team standings as well with a mere 17 points. Way too early to be awarding team points. But this is the first race as we enter the end of the first lap where we've had anywhere near this number of athletes still in contention. This is a lot of men to get round this hairpin bend at the bottom here for the first time. Nilsson getting himself up involved in the race, but that's heavy traffic round a hairpin turn.
Yeah, really aggressive bit of running there from one of the Spanish squad. I think it was Escamilla. Yes, it is. Mesfin Escamilla took junior team bronze a couple of years ago in these European Championships. Still only 20. Won the Spanish junior cross-country last year. And just looking at his CV, 13.43 for 5,000. I mean, on paper, he doesn't come close to comparing with Griggs and athletes of that sort of caliber. But these two are moving away now, and it's one of the Turks who's there as well, running aggressively. Erguvan, Diyar Erguvan, is moving away with Escamilla. And everybody else, I think, suspecting this is a bit of a blush by these two, or I don't think they're bluff. I mean, not a blush, bluff, because these two are not amongst the favourites, but you can't let them build too much of a lead.
And I think when you move to this under-23 age group, you have a lot of athletes that have done a few more 10Ks on the road or maybe in domestic cross-country that look at this 6K and they go, we cannot hang around. And perhaps Escamilla, one of those athletes that's saying, you know, I've got a future in 10,000 and longer. I can't be messing around. Let's just go. And also Escamilla might feel like he favours these uphill sections and he wants to just lean into them, and he knows that's one of his strengths. But Griggs and Nilsson looking very comfortable there. They seem to just be watching each other, and like you say, kind of they think that Escamilla is perhaps bluffing as well here in the lead.
Yeah, I can't see these two sustaining this. Escamilla looked to me like he was grimacing a minute or so ago already. Interesting to see Nilsson, the tall Dutchman, who was an Olympic finalist at 1,500 metres last year, up towards the front. There he is in the Dutch orange and blue. He's in 3rd place. Now, here's an indication. A couple of weeks ago, I commentated on a cross-country from the Netherlands in Tilburg. He was 25th in that race last year, Stefan Nilsson. A couple of weeks ago, finished 3rd. He's improved his strength. We know he's got fabulous speed. He's a brilliant 1,500-metre runner. 3:34 to 3:32, and then 3:30 for that 9th in the final in Paris. He had an astonishing Olympic Games, so we know he's improved his strength dramatically. He's just got to gauge his effort right here. And it's people like him, actually, that Nick Griggs and Barnicott have got to be careful of, isn't it, with that great speed?
And what I'd loved about Nilsson in 2025 was a bit of playing around with steeplechase. He ran one steeplechase for fun, and the next thing we know, he's running 8:20, nearly winning the under-23s as a world-class 1500 metre runner. And I think he's just really hit that purple patch of fitness and conditioning and everything, that he can dilly around and play with different things. And so I wasn't surprised to see Nilsson targeting the cross-country season. I think he's shown he's a complete package. Perhaps if this under-23 men's race was 8K, 10K, Nilsson might have said, you know, that's a bit out of my comfort zone. But he's run a very calm race, as has Griggs. The defending champion, Will Barnicott, doesn't look too comfortable here so far. He's in around about 20th place. He has been struggling with an injury. He's had a disrupted last few weeks. The Brit, he's actually on 4 consecutive titles if you take that under-20 and 3 consecutive titles. The under-20 then straight into those under-23 titles. But at the moment, the Brit roundabout back in 25th or 30th place. And Matt Ramsden, the first of the British men at the moment.
Well, those drone shots are absolutely fantastic. You get such a good idea of the speed, the tempo these fellas are moving at. Escamilla still leading, very aggressive running from the Spaniard. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it, though. Raja there is up the front for France, along with Pierre Boudy, his teammate Nick Griggs, looking pretty comfortable there in 2nd place. Maybe it's going to be his day. Nilsson, the tall figure in orange, he's so easy to spot as they come towards the end of this 2nd lap. 8:40 on the clock, and the gap's relatively small, but Griggs looking very, very calm, isn't he, in 2nd place? He's run a smart race. He's got up towards the front after a couple of minutes, and he's just cruising along there, letting others do the hard work at the front end. It'll start thinning out soon. 2 laps down and 2 to come. Interesting name there up towards the front, though, is Karsai of Hungary, I think that is.
So a Hungarian faller at exactly this point in the junior men's, but not for Kasai, the national champion over 10,000 metres and half marathon. So real endurance animal, Kasai there. And Escamilla still pushing at the front here. Lilesso as well, the Danish athlete, the 10,000 metre champion on the track in the summer, previous medalist for under-20. He's picked up a bronze there. He's been close to the podium here in this under-23 race. But the red vest of Denmark just moving up into the top 10 is behind. There he is alongside his training partner Nilsson. I think a calm race there from Lilesso.
Well, there's still a lot of athletes there. There's no clear lead group getting away from the rest. As Karsai, whose CV doesn't suggest he should be up there at the moment. I mean, this is great running. 10 minutes on the clock from 21-year-old Gabor Karsai. He's a 64-minute half marathon runner, so he's got pretty good strength, but he hasn't broken 29 minutes for 10,000 metres, hasn't broken 14 minutes even for 5,000. In fact, he's a full minute slower than Nick Griggs over 5,000. As I say that, so Griggs hits the front. And this is a young Irishman with so much frustration in those legs. Griggs, just 20 years old himself. He's got at least another year in this couple of years in this age group. 2nd in the Irish cross-country championships recently, Griggs. We know he's in good form. He holds the world record, get this, might resonate with many of you listening, he holds the world record for park run. Ran 13:44 at Belfast last year. And he's coached by my old mate Mark Kirk, who's a dentist in Belfast, who was a 1:46 800 metre runner back in the 80s. So, yeah, a lot of good knowledge has gone into the training of Nick Griggs as he begins to stretch this field now for the first time, Hannah. I get the impression somebody's got the bull by the horns in this race, who's got real credibility and is pushing on strongly. And those gaps have opened incredibly quickly. And it's almost like Nick Griggs has taken the brakes off and unleashed this power in the middle stage of the race. Back in 2nd place, tucked in beside him, is Aurélien Raja of France, 21-year-old, who again on paper is solid, but not in the same class as Griggs. He's over 30 seconds slower at 5,000 metres. And these stats matter, because if you've run 13:05 for 5,000, you've entered a category of ability that puts you head and shoulders above athletes who have never broken 13:30, for example. And that difference on the track, there's no reason why you can't extrapolate it and apply it to this sort of environment. I mean, yes, it's a cross-country race, it's slightly different, but the fact is that Griggs is a class apart from those around him at the moment up at the front end.
Griggs, he was looking around at the start. Once they negotiated that grass section by the start line, Griggs started to look around and said, who's here, what's going on? And he's done a squeeze up this uphill section here in Lagoa, and it's just blown the field apart. We've seen this in some of the other races. It was Ferrero in the previous race, in the under-23 women's race. The Spaniard pushed, and that was it. It was suddenly her and Monanen. And it's only Radja that's been able to match Griggs here as they turn off the top of the course here in Lagoa. A lap and a half to go. This half lap is easy, and just have to keep our eye perhaps on the second Frenchman here to see if he can get himself back towards Radja and Griggs. And it's Lelesso, the Danishman, chasing hard, chasing down Budi here. And that's the bronze medal position.
Well, Griggs here has kicked in hard in the middle of the race, just like Ferrero in the women's race, the third race of the day. The one before this, the Spaniard who went on to a storming gold medal. Griggs has done the same thing, but Radja here taking the race to Griggs. This is superb, aggressive running from the Frenchman, Aurélien Radja. Just checking his card. He was 11th in the junior race a couple of years ago, 15th in this race last year, so he has got some pedigree. His coach, Nicole Martin, on the sidelines roaring at him. Griggs just leading there as they go through the third lap. But that gap behind them is pretty big now, goodness me. Griggs and Radja on 13.09. And then trying to see who that is back in third place, but the gap is 40 metres, Hannah.
Well, Pierre Budi just about holding on to third place ahead of Lelesso, Field Halvorsen, Nilsson and Ramsden and those guys. They're really pushing towards third. And Griggs here, I wondered if he would have been pleased to have Radja go into the lead there, and he might have given the Frenchman just a chance to take the pressure off him, but the Irishman, he only let Radja lead for around about 200 metres. Said, no, it's not quick enough. I'm pushing. I'm leaving nothing to chance here.
He's stretching the Irishman here. He's up on his toes, Nick Griggs. He looked beautiful. We had a shot of him about 30 seconds ago where he was almost prancing. He's galloping. He looks magnificent, totally unstressed. Radja, by comparison, look at that. The head rocking from side to side. He's working hard. He just looks a little bit more untidy. And Griggs here, although he's dragged Radja away from the rest, surely is heading for gold here. Less than a lap to run. And Griggs looking as smooth and as calm as though he's out on a Sunday morning training run.
Look at the difference between Nick Griggs and that chase pack there. They are working so hard. Alesso trying to get himself ahead of Budi. And you're right there to pick out the Radja. He's just starting to tire ever so slightly, but Griggs, he already looked the class of the field. I mean, compare the form and the energy up that hill into these little man-made bumps. Griggs looked just brilliant. And Alesso, for the first time, nudges himself into a medal position. I mentioned he was a medalist as an under-20, and he could become an under-23 medalist here today.
Well, Radja and Budi giving France a great chance of team medals here. Lelesso, one of the pre-race favourites, back in fourth place at the moment. And no sign of Johnny Grahn of Sweden or Halvorsen of Norway, Santos of Portugal. Nielsen has met his match here. Indeed, the whole field have met their match at the hands of Griggs here. He is storming away with this one. Now he's got the bit between his teeth. Half a lap to go. And Griggs looking quite magnificent. And Hannah, isn't this wonderful, wonderful reward for the perseverant? Ireland, too, way out in front in the team race. Griggs could be heading, he won't know it. He won't have the foggiest idea, but he could be heading for 2 golds here as that gap has grown centre of picture to about 40, 50 metres.
And we mentioned the bad luck that Nick Griggs has had here. He's won track titles, he's won under-18 youth European titles, but on the cross-country, he's just been unlucky. Stumbled in the closing stages in Turin in 2022. Didn't take the win that day. He was still a junior the next year, couldn't get it done. Last year in Antalya, he fell on the start line and was playing catch-up and could only get himself into the silver medal position. But Nick Griggs has had a wonderful race here today. That fall in Antalya, he actually injured his knee, and ended up with a horrible knee infection. He was out for weeks, for months. So the luck hasn't been on the side of this Irishman until today. And it was a wonderful medal for the Irish team in Dublin when they hosted these championships. They were delighted with that, and they could be heading back towards a team medal to go with this wonderful run from Griggs.
Griggs has destroyed Raja here. He's destroyed the rest of the field. He's a 3:52 miler. He's 13:05 runner for 5,000 meters. He is significantly superior to anybody behind him when you look at that combination of speed, endurance and strength. And this will be a magnificent, perhaps the most dominant run of the day here from Nick Griggs, although Innes Fitzgerald was pretty special, wasn't she, in the opening race of the day, the under-20 race where she took gold for Great Britain. But this is going to be gold for Ireland on the long, one relatively long straight stretch here on the course is Nick Griggs. His coach Mark Kirk will be in possession of a chest that is exploding with pride as his charge takes the penultimate left-hand turn. Griggs, a little glance over his shoulder there. He is winning this at a canter. He's winning it with consummate ease. He's blown this field apart mid-race. One finger is held aloft because he is the champion in the under-23 men's race. His time unofficially 17:47. Brilliant running from the Frenchman coming through for second place. Raja there. He can be delighted with that. He took the race to Griggs and Griggs responded with interest. And a bronze for Booty there as he comes through. Absolutely superb. France second and third. Lilesso takes fourth, just outside the medals.
Two more Irish across the line there, Morgan and Murphy. That's going to tie up the team race.
With interest.
Because it's two French across the line, but we haven't got sight on the second Frenchman. The third Frenchman, unfortunately, and that's a wonderful day out. And you look at Nick Griggs, that was so dominant as we watch these other athletes pouring across the line. Many people would have thought Nick Griggs could have helped the senior squad to a medal today. And I think it's
absolutely.
I think had he won, Nick Griggs, last year, this under-23 race, he might have done that, but he's got his championship and he's helped his teammates to a gold as well.
Will Barnicott, the best of the Brits, down in 14th place, clearly nowhere near 100%. The top 10 rounded out by Karsai of Hungary. What a great run from him. That's a surprise in 9th place. And Niall Murphy in 10th place for Ireland, being the second Irish scorer. In fact, the third Irish scorer, excuse me, because Callum Morgan finished in 8th place. So unofficially, I think Ireland have taken this team race by quite some margin. 19 points to France's 33.5 points, with Spain on 43. Great Britain and Northern Ireland at the moment, it looks like they're finishing in 4th place in the team race. Here's that finishing form of Nick Griggs. He looks like he could have done another lap, full of energy. We've seen so many athletes in the previous 3 races wiped out as they cross the finish line, rolling around on that grass just past the line. But Griggs here, well, he's as fresh as a daisy. Fresh as a four-leaf clover.
Well, he's just coming in front of us here at this stage in the race, and you could hear that roar. It was audible above the crowd, above the tannoy, and the cheer across the line for Nick Griggs. His winning margin of 12 seconds is the largest winning margin we've seen here in history in the men's under-23 race. Radja, it was brave from him. He pushed the pace. He went with Griggs, and Booty judged it really well to take silver and bronze. What a lovely moment there between the teammates.
How often do you see that? A smile before the line with a teammate waiting for you. It's pretty rare. It's very, very special. And they're awarded too with a second medal, that pair. Unofficially, silver medals for the French squad, with Spain in 3rd, Great Britain in 4th, Germany in 5th, Netherlands in 6th, and Portugal, the host, in 7th place in the team race in that under-23 men's contest. Nielsen, well, let's just have a look at the individual race. I think Nielsen, where did he finish? Eventually 7th place. That's a pretty good running over the country. Some 18 minutes of running from a 1,500-metre specialist. The great strength.
Great to see celebrations here from the French team. They're having a good day, the French. Some team medals, but you would have said if you've got 2nd and 3rd individually, you would have thought that would give you the team title, but the packing from the Irishmen. You had Callum Morgan and Niall Murphy in the top 10 alongside that win from Nick Griggs. A dominant team victory for the Irishmen. And the Irish having a good day as well. Remember back to Emma Hickey picking up the individual bronze in the under-20 women's race.
And the Spanish celebrating their bronze medals. What a good result it was for them. The best of their finishers, Jaime Miguel, finishing in 5th place, and then going down to Giro Martin in 17th place, and Martin Segurola in 20th place was their 3rd scorer, and that good enough to give them 43 points for the bronze medals.
So in terms of favourites, what we've had, Innes Fitzgerald delivering. I don't know if you would have picked Nick Griggs as an absolute favourite. He made it look like we should have.
I know.
Dominant from him, and that concludes the age group races here at the European Cross Country Championships. The under-20s and the under-23s gone, and that brings us to the chaos of the mixed relay. It's a wonderful event, this mixed relay at the European Cross Country Championships. Great races and performances in these races so far, and it's only going to get better here with those mixed relays, followed by the 2 senior races. 2 Frenchmen on the podium here, Jimmy Gressier, this under-23 age group, the real making of him. So we have to keep our eye out for the likes of Vadya and Budi as they progress into the senior ranks. But Griggs finally gets his gold medal.
Do you know what's amazing about Nick Griggs too? It's not like he's at the top of the age group. He's 20.
Yeah.
He is so young.
21 in a few weeks, he is.
He's a massive talent.
But I really do wonder, so now he's done this, will he go and help the senior squad in the coming years?
There it is, Nick Griggs, champion in the under-23 race. At last, he takes a gold. 17:47 his winning time ahead of Raja. And the bronze medal going to Budi, the French in 2nd and 3rd behind Griggs' dominant run. Lulesso of Denmark in 4th place, just outside the medals. Portuguese João Santos in 20th place. That was a solid run from Santos, actually. He was the best of the Portuguese. Finley Profit, 31st place for Great Britain there. Just looking to see if there's any other names that one might have expected to be further up who had a disappointing run. I don't think so.
It was interesting, I think as a prequel to that senior race, how congested that under-23 men's was. The women still spread out somewhat, but there would have been some men there that you have a bad half a lap or a bad finishing section, you're going to cost yourself 10, 15 spots there. It was very congested through that. And again, when you have these short races, I think it keeps the pack together like that. And I think you can go from maybe 20th to 30th with only a small sort of lapse in concentration.
Well, in the under-23 men's race, Ireland taking gold ahead of France and Spain. Great Britain just outside the medals there. The Irish truly dominant. What a day it's been for them there in the last, as Hannah said, of the age group.
I am Nadia Batogritti. Sign up now to the European Athletics YouTube channel.